wham bam, thank you,
and
ma'am.
you'd be okay with that?
Well, at that age I was. I'm not anymore.
Right.
At that, now it's about, listen, I want to give more than I receive, because when you're both giving, it's just a fucking awesome union. Mm-hmm. But the general way that you want to approach sex, and this is opposite to what everybody's doing. Everybody's just like, get me off. Well, it's selfish, right? I mean,
that is selfish.
When has anything selfish been better than, giving? Like, how good do you feel when you're doing charitable work as opposed to just ripping someone off?
No, yeah, you're right. But that's it.
I'm not saying that it's a charitable deed.
But I guess that's what it is. Like, I felt, well, not from my past relationship. I'm not going to say that. But before, I just felt like that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to just get off.
Well, that's what a lot of guys and women want now.
Yeah.
We can't just pinpoint one sex. It goes across the board.
Yeah, exactly.
The idea is that what we want to do is get back to the idea that you just want to pleasure one another, and if you get off, that's a bonus. But the idea of just connecting and sharing that time together should be enough.
It should be.
And the problem is with this instant gratification, if you just fucking hold off for a bit and just keep going, whether or not focused on the orgasm, I guarantee you that you're going to have a better orgasm anyway.
Okay.
You let it build and you focus on the other person, and then when it happens, it happens. If you're just focused on me, you're like that fucking kid that just got his Nerf gun taken away, right? It's like you might as well.
Mostly men though? Is that mostly men that have to like?
Unfortunately, I mean, we do have biological features that are different, right? So for women, it takes probably about 4 times as long to get worked up.
Oh, it doesn't. It's frustrating.
Okay, so this is the thing. Women tend to need their oven heated a little longer. You need a little more foreplay. You can't just get right to it. Mm-hmm. Guys can get up for the most part. The general, I mean, obviously there's always an exception. But generally, men can get turned on pretty quickly, and we finish pretty quickly.
Yeah, you do.
Right? Yeah. So compared to what a female needs 15 to 20 minutes just to get worked up. So we have to be prepared to put that time in. You need longer? No, you can. Okay,
right away.
Okay, well, depending on the situation,
yeah,
right? Say that
true.
You've been in a relationship for a while. It's nothing new. Sometimes it may take 15 minutes of foreplay, or 10 minutes of foreplay, or 20 longer. It depends on the woman, right?
Right.
Whereas the majority of men, I mean, I know I don't need a lot of foreplay. I mean, a lot of men that I know don't need a lot of foreplay. A woman can basically just lift up her skirt and say, "Come on in," or like, "Okay," right? Yeah. And that's fun sometimes. Sometimes it's nice to have quickies, and sometimes it depends on your mood. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the time, that's where it kind of sucks, is we're not in sync on the arousal. Women are different than men. Men are different than women. It's not something we can't change, but we need to focus on pleasuring our partner rather than getting off.
Yeah, and not to be afraid to tell the person, okay, like this
communicate.
is not working. Yeah,
communicate.
Because I've done that where it just felt like a 1 minute thing, a wham bam, thank you ma'am. Like, you know what? No, like I require to get off too. Like, let's help each other. Like, you can't.
I know, but it's hard to. It's hard to approach it like that unless you do that from the beginning.
Yeah. Because
then it just sounds like the guy's like, oh, well, I got off, and then it's like, well, I want to get off, right? And it's like, it's two selfish people having a selfish argument.
Yeah.
So you really need to just get in the mindset of trying to, just get in the mindset now of I'm going to please my partner, and that's going to be so amazing in the turn on itself that it will help me reach my orgasm or whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody deserves to have orgasms, but I don't think that two people connecting by saying that's all you want, like, you are just treating people as objects in that point. Mm-hmm. You're not really connecting.
Exactly. No, you're right.
Right? So, I mean, I think that's okay once in a while if it's just, like, if you agree on it, but I don't think that should be the primary way that you fuck, really.
Right, and it is just fucking, right? That's basically what it is.
Yeah, and more people are fucking than ever before, right? Whatever happened to the good old-fashioned take your time and make love from time to time. I know that's cliche and cheesy, but it's true.
It would be nice. Like, I don't think I've ever made love.
Really?
No.
Never?
I've never felt that connection with somebody.
Really?
It was just like, okay, like, you're attractive and stuff like that, and you want to pleasure the person. Like, I enjoy pleasuring the other person. Like, that was my main thing. I don't even have to get off sometimes. I just need a little penetration. Fair
enough, yeah.
But, like, I do enjoy pleasuring the other person, but it was never that that feeling of, actually I've had it probably once, but like that feeling of love, that feeling that,
so let me ask you this. Them. Do you think that is because of the way that they're treating you, or because of you, the way
maybe
that you're
that
not
is
letting your guard down?
Yeah, I'm probably not letting my guard down. I don't let my guard down with anybody. Like I think that, you know what, they're using me to get what they want, and right now I'm horny, so
you're gonna let that happen.
Let's just do what we have to do and say goodbye, and we're good.
So maybe there needs to be some work done on both parts here.
Yeah,
maybe. Fair enough. Like, as long as you can admit that and say, okay, well,
I would love to have that feeling with somebody.
Well, I think it all boils down to communication, because you really need to feel safe with that person. If you're on the same page and you communicate and you trust each other, then you kind of start to allow those walls to come down and allow people in. And I mean, I haven't had it in a long time, so I'm just kind of going back in time and reliving the textbooks that I've read versus the relationships I've had, and where I would reverse it. Yeah. Right?
And what would you have changed?
I think exactly that. I think I would have taken my time. I think I would have communicated more. I think I would have just been more compassionate. Mm-hmm. I think I put a lot of pressure on myself. I think that we put a lot of pressure on each other. I mean, she is I'm thinking in one person specifically, but they can all it's all been very sexual women that know what they want and know how to get themselves off. And that's great. But again, I mean, it's a partnership. And, I thought I did okay at the time, but I would have put in a lot more work now, knowing what I know. I think that, to be completely honest with you, every guy should just really learn as much as they can about the female anatomy. No one puts the time in. They just watch porn and they think they're fucking John Juan, right? And the problem with porn is that most of the porn out there is male produced, so they're showing what men want to see. That's not what women want.
No.
Women don't. I mean, sometimes they might want their, to be choked.
Yeah, sometimes you want to just be slammed, and that's it.
Fair enough. I mean, it depends on the mood, but it doesn't mean that every time needs to be that way.
No.
Switch it up. Stay creative.
Have I ever had that time where it was just like, lovely?
Lovely?
Lovely.
It hasn't been like rose petals in the bathtub or anything like that?
I've never had anything like that. Nothing romantic. I've never had any romance. There was never ever, I come home or something and,
right.
It just sets the mood. I've never had that. It was just mostly like, hey. And then I'm like, right.
Yeah.
kind of thing.
So it was a pretty quick negotiation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm always down. I'm always down.
Well, you deserve to have romance in your life. Maybe you just need a little more pampering to be thrown your way, and then maybe that'll
because I pamper. You know me. I serve.
You want to make your man happy.
I always want to make my man happy. I bring them food. I compliment them. I send them texts. You're an amazing person.
Yeah.
Have a great day today. Don't stress out if you need me.
Yeah.
I'm that kind of person, and I would give them flowers or something, but I've never had that in return.
Right.
And then I start to feel resentment. I'm like. And you should never give something
just to get something back.
But it's never happened.
Yeah. No, I mean, once in a while. Okay, so have you ever read the book, The 5 Love Languages?
I've heard of it.
Okay, well, it's a book by Gary Chapman, and you should definitely look into it. He does talk a little bit on the religious side, so whether or not you're religious, I don't know. You're spiritual, right? But are you religious? I don't know.
I kind of am.
You kind of are? Okay. So he talks a little bit about God and about marriage, but the major things that he the major points he tries to put in place are the fact that everybody receives love in different ways. So usually what we do is we start showing someone the way that we want to be loved. Like for me, I like to be touched, so I'll immediately start touching a woman. That might not be it for her. Maybe what she'd like is for flowers to arrive at work one day, which is, receiving a gift. Or maybe she'd just like to sit on the couch and talk, and that's quality time. So he's basically saying there's 5 different ways to give and receive love. I know for me, mine is physical touch and words of affirmation. I like to be told that, words of affirmation could be, honey, you look great today, or whatever. Or at least that's what it was. I think it might have changed. The more that I meditate, the less I need any kind of affirmation.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's different. But I like to be touched, and I like quality time too, and deep conversations. So you can actually like them all. It's just in which order, so that your partner needs to know if you're the way that you receive love is physical touch, then they need to be more physical with you.
Yeah.
But not necessarily in a sexual way, just in a touchy, lovey way.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes if the guy is, washing the dishes, I'll go behind him and hug him, and
right.
And that's how I would like to be hugged at some point.
Sure. So then, if that's something that you need to communicate too, right?
Yeah.
So it's if you know the way that you want your partner to kind of treat you, or what's more important to you, then that's something that you're kind of responsible to tell them that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to believe it or not, I have.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you get the, I bought you dinner last night.
Okay, well, it's never a fucking tit for tat.
Right.
That pisses me right the fuck
Right,
off.
exactly. So, whenever I say something, I wish that you would tell me that you loved me more often, or I wish that you would hug me and stuff like that. I was like, well, didn't I do this the other? And I'm like, okay, you know what? Never mind.
Yeah, well, maybe it's time that you have a conversation and just say, with whoever you're going to be with in the future, or whoever you're talking to, when you have that conversation, just say, this is the way, and maybe you need to ask them the same thing. Maybe that's a good way to start the conversation, is say, listen, how do you want me to love you?
Yeah.
It's the same thing as it's the same thing. Like when you want, if you meet someone and they're a bad kisser, the best thing that you can do is say, how do you want me to kiss you, kind of thing, or why don't you, and then they'll try with you, and you can show them how you like to be kissed, right? So you kind of train each other. It's never the end of the world and be like, oh, they're a bad kisser. You didn't put any effort in.
Yeah, exactly.
So same thing with the communication when it comes to how you give and receive love. If you're gonna try to love him, you need to know how he receives that.
Yeah.
So whether it's maybe he needs back rubs at the end of the day, maybe that means the world to him, and if he doesn't get those, he doesn't feel loved. It just depends on.
Yeah, exactly. And when I love someone, or if I am interested, I try my hardest to do everything that I think that they would like.
Right. Right. But make sure that if they don't give a shit about receiving gifts, per se, then don't go and drop chocolates off at work, right?
I wouldn't do that,
Yeah, if they do, then by all means, plant cool little things around the house or around where they work.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
But for example, Chris, we're very good friends now.
Yeah.
And of course I will always love him. He's the father of my child.
Yeah.
And the way I show my love for him, the father of my child, is bringing Tommy over once in a while.
Well, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Right?
Yeah, that's
and
amazing.
I can see the light in his eyes whenever he sees his son.
Right.
And that's made his day. And then I'm like, okay, and I will keep on doing that.
Sure.
Right?
Regardless of what happens.
Regardless, whatever.
I think you guys I think that you guys just need to really sit down and communicate with each other. But it's none of my business, right? I just have you on here.
Do you think that we should try?
I think so. I mean, from my own personal, I've got a bias here. I know you both. I know that when you, I don't know. I mean, obviously there's differences, and I don't know the inside of the relationship. But I care about you both. I'd like to see you both happy. You both have a son together, and I don't think you've really given it a fair shot. Long term. I mean, if you're thinking long term, but this is just me sticking my nose in.
Yeah.
So sorry, Chris, but I think it would be good for you two to really try to work it out. But that's just me from the outside looking in. You guys have to figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But regardless, I'll always be here for both of you. And, I was at your son's baptism. Love Tommy. I'll always be there for him.
Yeah.
So don't think twice about that. And whatever happens, I just hope that you're both happier in the end.
Yeah. And that's the only thing. And I've told him already. If he's happier with someone else and a different lifestyle, I'll be happy for him.
Sure.
I love him enough to want him to have that, and I hope that he would want that from me as well.
That's real love, though, when you can actually look at someone and just want them to be happy instead of. I mean, I thought in my past relationships, I thought I loved women, but then I didn't want them to be with anyone else, and I was like, how can I really love them if I don't wish them all the best and all the happiness that life has to offer?
I wish him the best in his business. I will always support his business. I will always tell people about his business.
Yeah, me too.
Because the happier that he is, the happier my life is. Because if he's miserable, he's gonna come, and then I'm like, okay. But that's it. I want him to be happy, and I'll even try to find him somebody if that's, if it comes to that.
I don't think you need to go that far.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah. No, he wouldn't even like it. He'd be like, "What are you doing?" Yeah.
Well, on that note, I mean, I hope it works. I hope you guys find whatever it is that you're both looking for. I hope it comes to both of you and you tracked it. I hope that for Tommy's sake, you do kind of end up together, but at the same time, you have to be happy with one another. Right. Or else he's going to see that too, right? Yes. So that's my 2 cents with it, but I'm not by any means an expert. Look at me, I'm still fucking